Dear students, having discussed the construction and working of Pelton wheel in our last lecture, in this next lecture we will discuss the Pelton wheel velocity diagrams, work done and efficiency. Pelton wheel is a type of a water turbine. Okay. So, Pelton wheel bucket is shown in this slide. Okay, we know the Pelton wheel bucket is made up of double hemispherical cup shape. So these are two cups side by side, and that forms a single bucket. Okay, these two cups are connected to each other by means of a straight splitter edge. So this is a splitter here. This is a splitter. This is a vertical splitter edge on which the water jet strikes exactly at the center of the bucket on the splitter. The jet is supplied by the nozzle and it is made to strike over the splitter. The splitter edge will split the jet into two streams. So one is this and this is the second stream of the fluid, right? And this part is called a notch. So this is a notch provided on the bucket. This will prevent the interference of the jet with the incoming bucket. So in a Pelton turbine, the jet of water from the nozzle strikes the bucket at the splitter, which splits up the jet into two parts, that is two fluid streams. The two parts of the jet then glide over the inner surfaces of the buckets like this, gliding motion. Okay, and come out at the outer side edges. So these are outer side edges of a bucket tangentially. So the water will leave the bucket tangentially at the outer edges. The splitter is the inlet tip and the outer edge, the side edge, is the outlet tip of the bucket. So inlet tip is one, because splitter is only one, but the outlet tips are two. So one is here, the other one is here. Okay, the sectional top view of this figure is shown here. So the bucket, this cross section of a bucket is nothing but sectional top view of this bucket taken at plane YY. Now this figure shows the velocity triangles at the tips of the bucket of a Pelton turbine, right? This is inlet velocity triangle as a straight line, and this one is a outlet velocity triangle at the outlet tip, and this is the inlet tip. Let small d be the diameter of the jet, capital A be the area of the jet as a pi by 4 d square. Capital D is suppose the pitch circle diameter of the wheel. D is pitch circle diameter of the wheel, and capital N be the speed of rotation of the wheel in RPM. Let V1 and V2 be the absolute velocities of the jet at the inlet and outlet respectively. U1, small u1 and small u2 be the peripheral or circumferential velocities of the bucket at the inlet and outlet respectively. Okay, please note this, u1 and u2 are the peripheral velocities or vane velocities or circumferential velocities of the bucket at the inlet tip and outlet tip. Okay, so these are hardware velocities. VR1, VR2, let us say these be the relative velocities of the jet relative to vane or bucket at the inlet and outlet respectively, as the jet moves relative to the bucket surface. Let VW1, VF1 be the components of the velocity of the jet V1 in the direction of motion of the bucket and perpendicular to the direction of motion of the vane. VW1 is known as velocity of whirl at inlet. VF1 is known as velocity of flow at the inlet. VW2, VF2 are the components of velocity V2 in the direction of motion of vane and perpendicular to the direction of motion of vane at the outlet. VW2 is known as velocity of whirl, while VF2 is known as velocity of flow at the outlet. Okay, alpha and beta suppose represents the angles between the direction of jet V1 and V2 and the direction of motion of the bucket at the inlet and outlet respectively. So those are angles made by V1 and V2, alpha and beta. Also, alpha is known as guide angle or a nozzle angle in case of a Pelton turbine. There are no guide blades, there is a nozzle. Let theta and phi represent the vane angles of the bucket at inlet and outlet respectively, or these are the angles made by relative velocities with the direction of motion of the vane at inlet and outlet respectively. Alpha is also known as clearance angle. Now, since the inlet and outlet tips of the bucket are at the same radial distance, okay, from the axis of the wheel, therefore the tangential velocity of the bucket at both the tips, that is inlet and outlet tip, will be the same. It means u1 is equal to u2 is equal to small u, that is nothing but pi dn by 60, pi into d into n by 60. Now, looking at the inlet velocity triangle, you can see this is the inlet velocity triangle, which is actually a straight line. The velocity triangle at inlet tip will be a straight line. Velocity triangle at inlet tip is a straight line, as the velocities capital V1 and small u1 are collinear. But the question is why it is a straight line. So the reason is the angle alpha corresponding to the vector V1 is 0. That is the reason. Now, why alpha is made 0? The answer is the bucket is designed in such a way that the water should enter exactly tangentially at the inlet tip. So this is the inlet tip here. So the splitter edge is made in such a way that it is made as a sharp edge, so that the water enters very smoothly at the splitter edge at the inlet tip. That's why theta alpha angle is made 0. Also, theta angle is 0. It is the angle corresponding to VR1. So that's why you can see V1 is overlapping with U1 as well as VR1. So logically VW1 is equal to V1 and VF1 will be equal to 0. Okay, now since alpha equal to 0, theta equal to 0, therefore VW1 is equal to V1, and VR1, the relative velocity at inlet, can be calculated as V1 minus U1. That is nothing but V1 minus U, as U1 is equal to U2 is equal to U. Okay, peripheral velocities for Pelton wheel are same at inlet and outlet. Now, if in ideal case, if the bucket surfaces are perfectly smooth, then the friction is neglected and the energy losses due to impact of jet on the splitter, if those are negligible, then VR1 is equal to VR2. Okay, where K value is equal to 1. Practically, when the friction is considered, and it will be always there, then in a practical case VR2 is always less than VR1. The relative velocity at outlet is always less than VR1, since some energy is required in overcoming the friction. So VR2 is equal to, it is defined as equal to K factor into VR1. For this, K is always slightly less than unity, where K factor is known as the bucket friction factor or blade friction factor. It is also known as blade friction coefficient, capital K. So it is nothing but it is a ratio of relative velocity at outlet VR2 divided by relative velocity at inlet VR1. That is blade friction factor or bucket friction factor. Now at the outlet velocity triangle, you can see this is the outlet velocity triangle for beta angle less than 90 degree. Okay, this is our general case. Commonly beta is less than 90 degree. Angle made by V2 vector with the direction of motion of the well, and VR2 is K times VR1. So therefore VW2, the whirl velocity at outlet VW2, is nothing but it is equal to VR2 cos of phi minus U2. So VR2 cos phi minus U2, that is also equal to VR2 cos phi minus U. Okay, this formula is applicable only when beta is less than 90 degree. So V2 vector is towards left. Okay, so the force exerted by the jet of water in the direction of motion of bucket is given by Fx is equal to mass per unit time into initial velocity in jet direction minus final velocity of jet in the jet direction. So Fx is equal to mass flow rate is rho a v1 into bracket initial velocity of jet in the jet direction, so that is tangential direction, is Vw1, whirl velocity at inlet, minus final velocity of the jet in the jet direction is nothing but Vw2. But Vw2 itself is negative because it is towards left, so that's why minus sign becomes plus. So here we have plus sign, rho a v1 into Vw1 minus plus Vw2. Note, depending upon the magnitude of the peripheral speed of the runner of the buckets, the runner may be classified as follows. First is slow speed runner. It means what? Beta angle is less than 90 degree and Vw2 is negative towards the left. So formula of force is Fx is equal to rho a v1 into Vw1 plus Vw2. Next is medium runner. For this, the beta angle is equal to 90 degree. That is medium speed runner. Beta is equal to 90 degree. So Vw2 will be equal to 0. So Fx is equal to rho a v1 into Vw1. There is one more type, fast speed runner, high speed runner. For that, beta is more than 90 degree. Angle beta is more than 90. So V2 vector will be towards right, somewhere like this, the position of V2 vector. So it means Vw2 vector will be towards rightward in a positive x direction. So that's why Vw2 is positive. It will be in a positive x direction. So that's why this formula becomes minus sign. There will be a minus sign. So Fx is equal to rho a v1 into Vw1 minus Vw2. The work done by the jet on the runner per second is given by F into U. Simple, the force exerted into the peripheral velocity of the buckets, that is rate of work done. Also, the work done per second per unit weight of water striking. This is one more additional term. So it is a ratio of rate of work done per unit weight of the water striking. So weight of water striking is nothing but mass flow rate of a water into acceleration due to gravity. So divide this to the rate of work done. So on simplification we have 1 by G Vw1 plus Vw2 into U as a work done per second per unit weight of water striking. The energy supplied to the jet at inlet by the nozzle is in the form of kinetic energy, and it is equal to 1/2 mv1 square, and mass flow rate is nothing but rho a v1. So formula of kinetic energy is 1 by 2 rho a v1 cube. Now remember, mass flow rate is always taken as rho a v1 because it is the case of a series of vents on the wheel. So we take absolute velocity v1 here. The hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton wheel is defined as the rate of work done per second on the wheel divided by kinetic energy of the jet per second. So divide this by kinetic energy, the rate of work done. So this is equal to, so this on simplification it is equal to 2 times Vw1 plus Vw2 into U divided by V1 square. Okay, rho A V1 cancels out. So this is formula of hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton wheel. 2 times Vw1 plus Vw2 into U upon V1 square. But inlet and outlet, from inlet and outlet velocity triangles, we can substitute for Vw1 and for Vw2. Vw1 can be substituted as V1 and Vr1 is nothing but V1 minus U. Vw2 is equal to Vr2 cos phi minus U2 or minus U. So substitute for Vr2 as k times Vr1 into cos phi minus U, and Vr1 is nothing but V1 minus U. So k into V1 minus U cos phi minus U. Put this Vw1, Vw2 in this formula of a hydraulic efficiency, equation A, and simplify. You get this formula. So that is hydraulic efficiency 2 into V1 minus U into bracket 1 plus k cos phi into bucket peripheral velocity U divided by V1 square. Further, this efficiency will be maximum for a given value of V1 and phi when you differentiate hydraulic efficiency with respect to bucket peripheral velocity and equate it to 0. So if we do this, differentiate this with respect to U, what we get is this equation, where this term 2 into 1 plus k cos phi upon V1 square is not equal to 0. So that's why the other term d by du of V1 into U minus U square is equal to 0. Perform this derivation, it is V minus 2U is equal to 0, or U is equal to V1 upon 2. So the condition for maximum efficiency is what? For a Pelton wheel, efficiency is maximum when the velocity of the wheel, that is peripheral velocity of the wheel, is half the absolute velocity of jet of water at the inlet. That is the condition. So substituting that condition U equal to V1 by 2 in the formula of hydraulic efficiency, equation number B, and simplifying this, you get a formula eta H max, maximum hydraulic efficiency, as equal to 1 plus k cos phi divided by 2. Further, if friction factor is neglected, assuming no friction, equation becomes eta H max is equal to 1 plus cos phi divided by 2. So this is the final equation of maximum hydraulic efficiency of Pelton turbine. So here we have a note: if phi is equal to 0, that is the ideal case of a semicircular hemispherical bucket. If a phi angle is 0, it means the angle of deflection is 180 degree complete. Then what happens is the maximum efficiency tends to become 100%. 1 plus cos 0 upon 2. So 1 plus 1 by 2 is 100%. This is a ideal situation where the bucket has semicircular shape, hemispherical, perfectly hemispherical semicircular shape. Means it is something like this. So this is the incoming jet and these two are outgoing jets, right? But in a practical Pelton turbine, the outgoing jets do not go parallel to the incoming jet. Rather, the angle of deflection is 160 to 170 degree, so that the outgoing jets do not strike on the back side of incoming bucket. Okay, thank you.